Hey guys, it's Kane. I'm a Dave Ramsey taught financial coach, and I'm here to teach y'all how to change your life with some pretty simple and easy steps. Now, most people think that being rich or even a millionaire is completely unrealistic for them, but let me hit you with a quick fact. $600 a month invested in the S&P 500 from the age of 25 to 55, that's over $1.5 million. That's not just possible, that's a guarantee at this point. The biggest misconception that people have is they think being rich is about what you can buy, but in reality, getting rich is actually more about what you don't buy. The first misconception, you got to start thinking of your money as income and not just spending power. What do I mean by that? If you have $10,000 in your account, you don't need to think, great, I can go buy a new computer, laptop, maybe, heck, even a new used car. I get it. But in reality, you've got to start thinking about your money as what it can make you. That $10,000 isn't what you can go out and spend. It's $30 a month guaranteed for the rest of your life. Once you start thinking about it like that, then you start to free your mind. And suddenly, you're not trading money for things. You're trading your money for freedom. You're buying your time back. Second thing, simply living below your means. The higher your expenses are, the more of a chain is wrapped around your neck, and you're the ones putting it there. The lower your expenses, the more freedom you have, all right? If you're saddled with credit card debt or a high car payment, you've got to get those things took care of. I get it, the credit cards are a hard thing to start on, but that car payment is something we can all start today, all right? You can trade in and get a cheaper car that you can actually afford. What is a car that you can afford? One that you don't have to make a payment on. Well, I've told you what you shouldn't spend your money on, so what will you spend your money on? I mean, we're not going to live inside and do nothing for the rest of our lives. Well, something that I have found extremely useful whenever I try to figure out what I'm going to spend my money on is something that's called a dollar to fund ratio. What does that mean? Just getting the best bang for your buck. You worked hard for your money. You deserve to spend it on things that are going to give you, well, the best bang for your buck. For example, if you and a couple of your guys or girlfriends, you go out to a bar, you buy a few drinks, you sing some karaoke, and you have a wonderful time, and you only spent $30 or $40, that is an amazing value. But on the other hand, if you and your wife or whatever go out to eat at a fancy restaurant that's $200 a person, and you get home and you think, that was good, but it really wasn't 5 times as good as anywhere else. That's a horrible ratio. That's a waste of money. See, the goal is not to spend nothing, but it's to spend on things that maximize our happiness. And I'll tell you something that's crazy, both in my own experience and whenever I talk to other people. Most of the time, whenever you get to a point that you're able to buy just about whatever you want to buy, you realize you really don't want it or need it. For example, a first-class plane ticket is nothing but economy with a little bit of extra legroom. A fancy car doesn't give you so much more enjoyment than a nice, fun, cheaper car, especially after a point. Because once you hit that point, you're just paying more and more for smaller and smaller returns. So here's the big picture in just 5 steps. The first one is to live below your means, so you don't have that chain wrapped around yourself with debt or credit cards or student loans. If you're in debt, attack that right now. That interest that you're paying, you're just bleeding yourself dry. If you're paying interest, you'll never get ahead. The second is invest as much as you can. Your investment should double in value every 5 to 7 years. So all of a sudden, that $15 Sonic cheeseburger is really a $500 or $600 that you're stealing from your future self. You've got to remember to play the long game, all right? That's how they take advantage of us because they know most of us, we're only thinking about tomorrow. The third is to spend money on things that maximize your joy. We don't want to waste our money on stuff that we don't even care about the next day because at the end of the day, you deserve to be happy. You deserve for your money to be the best employee for you. You've worked hard for your money, so now let your money work hard for you. Get the maximum return on happiness. But that is your decision to make. You've got to decide what means the most to you. What are you going to enjoy the most and for the longest period of time? That is what you should be spending your money on. The fourth, and I think maybe one of the most important, you have to surround yourself with people who align themselves with your goals. Now, am I talking about throwing all your friends away and never talking to them again if they're not, in the grinding mindset? No, that's not what I mean. However, if you're trying to do good things with your life, you don't need to be with people who are robbing banks or robbing stores or anything like that. And I get it, that's an extreme example. What I started doing is I started looking online for people that I wanted to be like. Now, I'm not talking about these crypto millionaires or these 19-year-old kids with a Ferrari that's trying to sell you some course. I'm talking about the people that we see in everyday life. The 55 retiree, the 45 retiree. People who have done the right thing smartly over time and now they're being rewarded. For example, I found Dave Ramsey at a very young age. I thought that the things he said were amazing. I found people recently like Caleb Hammer. That is an amazing YouTube channel, by the way, Financial Audit. If you think you're bad, you need to go look at that. That'll probably give you some hope. He goes into budgeting. He will help people. All right, go watch channels like that, or even Graham Stephan. Now, I hate to break it to you, but you're not going to get rich quick. If you do, you probably bought a lottery ticket. But how many of us have been buying them and we're still not rich? And lastly, let your money give you freedom and not stress, because you deserve to have a life that you actually enjoy. Right now, over 70% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, which means they couldn't afford a $500 emergency without having to put that on a credit card. That's not living, guys. That's slavery. All right? We deserve better than that. You deserve better than that. I believe in y'all. Y'all can do it. Now, at the end of the day, all of this is not about being cheap. It's about being intentional with our money, because the money works for you. The biggest difference between poor people and broke people are that broke people spend their money on things that cost them more money or lose value over time, while rich people spend the money they've already made and they invest it into assets that make them more money. That's a snowball that builds upon itself. Your investments will double every 6 to 7 years. So if it starts off slow right now, just give it time. Just be patient. I promise you, in the long run, it'll be the best decision you've ever made. Because once you start to get to a point where your money that you've invested is making more money than what you're making at your job, that's true freedom to me. That's you buying your time back. That's you buying your life back. We can all achieve freedom like that, but we just have to know the steps and we just have to know how to get there. So if you found any of this helpful, like, subscribe, and maybe share it with someone else. Because at the end of the day, all we need to do is try to help each other to be a little bit better. Thank y'all.